I'm Mark Ramsey. Sitting next to me is Mike Agovino, COO of Triton Media Group. Mike, welcome.
Thank you.
A release just came out about a deal that Triton has done. Triton, of course, is at the forefront of digital transformation for the radio industry, and you just did a deal with a company called Jan Rain. Why do I care, and what is the deal? Maybe I asked that the wrong way.
Thank you for the forefront comment. I don't know that you will care. Hopefully you will. Well, I'm sure most of the folks out there are not familiar with Jan Rain, but it's a company that's blazed the trail on OpenID as an initiative online, and what they've actually done is they've aggregated the APIs of a bunch of the primary social networks out there, which allows the audience to register using a third-party profile from Twitter or Facebook or a Foursquare to access content on a website or a stream, etc. So, many in radio have been very reluctant to force any kind of a registration on the audience, fearing that an audience coming to your stream that sees that registration is required to access it will just go somewhere else. And as we sit here today, with what Jan Rain has done, it's really a simple two-click process that allows you to access a stream or any other content and register using one of those other profiles that I spoke of. The benefits of that are very significant. Let's talk about first the ones for the publisher or the broadcaster. I think everyone out there knows, as you look at our streaming revenue as an industry, that predominantly that's coming from traditional agencies executing the buy in a very traditional way, buying broad impressions that are targeted for somewhere in the United States, but not really differentiating someone who's on the other end of a stream in rural Nebraska from somebody on the other end of a stream in Los Angeles.
And the reason for that is the metrics we've had available have been limited because of what you just described, that broadcasters don't want people to go through the presumed hoop of registration on the stream, right?
Exactly. If you can picture your company, your station, and all the other stations that are streaming content aggregated in one sort of data warehouse where all of that sits. So all of that information, age, sex, down to some deeper behavioral targeting attributes over time, sitting in a data warehouse, and the ability to deal with a customer that's buying a certain demographic, a certain geography, a certain lifestyle, and serve that ad only to people with those attributes, targeting. And it's what has limited the growth of the streaming space up until now, because for the most part we're dealing with traditional agencies that if they're doing any targeting at all, they're doing geo-targeting, and there's a limited reliability to the geo-targeting data that's out there. What nobody really saw a few years ago was that enough people, enough publishers would be on a common content delivery network to the point that you could deploy a targeting infrastructure inside of that content delivery network, import data from a warehouse, and be able to have everyone join this community, if you will, that allows for all of this rich targeting, which allows for the marketing to be done at significantly higher CPMs than we are doing today, where more or less network radio accounts and large spot advertisers that don't have a geographic imperative are utilizing, which is why we're seeing the low CPMs, the $3, $4, $5 CPMs we're seeing in this space, which are lower than on-air CPMs, yet we're delivering a guaranteed audience. You're only paying for what you get. You have the ability to deliver some kind of interactive element or elements with that audience, and and capture a bunch of data and accountability around it. It's illogical that that audience would be accessible at a lower CPM than the terrestrial audience, but it's what has happened as we've sort of searched for an identity for this online audience radio has.
So what you're talking about, in effect, is with the click of a Facebook login.
2 clicks.
2 clicks. Okay, fair enough. 2 clicks of Facebook login. You get information from me without me having to volunteer it to you. That allows you to target more effectively. So I, with less trouble as a consumer, get to consume the content without going through all those hoops of entering data for you. You're able to provide the advertiser that richer content, which allows them to target, which increases CPM and allows you to tap into digital agencies with some credibility now, right?
Absolutely. Part of what went into this was spending a lot of time with digital agencies across the country and asking the simple question, how do we get on your roadmap? How do we create some demand for the space from within your agency? And the answer almost unanimously was, provide us the targeting capability we have with our display advertising, and everything gets lit up. And so it's a quest we've been on. We've talked with many of our clients about this over time. We'll be introducing sort of phase 1 of what is Triton Social, which is a much bigger plan that will play out over the next 12 to 18 months as we get more value for a listener, as the trade-off to that listener is greater relevance in everything that we do. I think we're going to be able to change this model and not be replicating the amount of commercial content that we have traditionally had on the terrestrial side, and go with a model that includes less interruption and less overall advertising in the mix, but that advertising being much more relevant to the end user in creating this one-to-one marketplace. There's no audience waste. You're finding the right marketing message in real time for who the end user is.
So finally, the ability to target, which is so critical to radio's digital future and puts every radio stream on par with Pandora. That's right around the corner from Triton Digital?
Yes, and that's the application for the streaming side of our company. Many stations out there use the Triton loyalty products, the former Enticent and Master One products. And that platform as well will be enabled with this technology. So once again, people who have resisted the registration process but have wanted to join your VIP community will be able to join with just those 2 clicks. And so in terms of casting the net, that's made it's more easily accomplished for our affiliates. And the publishing features, which allow you to like any content, to comment on any content, to publish out of this platform or streaming back across the social graph to all of your friends on the various social networks, comes immediately behind this single sign-on piece. And so for folks who are looking to to really allow the audience to join the conversation and light it up with their friends and invite their friends back in, that's what this is all about. Works from the stream, works from the Triton loyalty side.
So now you've got the listeners essentially inviting others to consume the stream of the station. Right?
Exactly. They become syndicators of the station's content, and if the content is desirable enough and meaningful enough to create the need on the part of the audience to alert their friends to its existence, you're powered to refer all of them in. And some stats that I've seen across some sites that have been enabled with this capability are sort of 5 to 1 with a post out in terms of referrals back in, and so you can see very quickly the impact that could have in your overall traffic.
Wow, terrific. Well, if they call it a social network, it's only appropriate they would be syndicated.
Absolutely.
Mike Agovino, CEO of Triton Media Group. Mike, thank you.
Thank you, Mark.